course of January, we began monitoring who was not shoveling their property. At that time, a list started to be created to be prepared when the ordinance became effective, which I believe was middle of January. To date, or at that time, we created a list of about 441 properties that had not at that time shoveled, and at that time the list was created and notices were placed on residents' property owners' doors. We started doing the intense list to prepare for the abatements on January 26th and finished throughout the week, and started placing abatements on the doors on Thursday, January 29th, the abatement notice. What we did was, typically, again, the ordinance officer would go, identify the property, place the notice on the door, take the pictures, and call the contractor to abate. And what we did this time is the ordinance officer checked the property, put the abatement notice on the door, and then the contractor was given the list of the properties, and they were the ones to take the picture, knowing full well ahead of time if there's not sufficient evidence to show that it needed to be abated, that they will not get paid for that service. So they understand that they have to take a picture that details and shows the abatement did occur and that it was required. The abatement began on Saturday, January 31st, and it took through Friday, February 6th to complete. Some issues that we did have with the contractor was that his staff didn't understand that the picture was required, not optional. And so one crew of his staff, when they ran out of memory, did not get a new camera or a new memory card. So we are missing quite a few pictures. But again, the contractor was aware at the beginning, no picture, no abatement.
I did shovel that weekend. I know I shoveled. There were some areas that I even put my own ice melt out on it. And I didn't get a notice. My only suggestion is if we could somehow give the council or the ordinance people our emails or our cell phones, so that if you have an issue, if someone would have called me or contacted me, I would have been out there at 12 o'clock at night shoveling that snow to make sure. These are tough economic times, and I don't need you know, a $93 snow shoveling job. My other issue is it seems awfully steep for shoveling 45 feet of sidewalk. And I don't know if anyone's time studied this process, because if I could make $93 for 5 minutes worth of shoveling, I'd like to have that job. But more importantly, I'd like to get on an email address, and that way, if you send someone an email, you get a confirmation back that they received it. And if I had got my due process, I would have been out there and shoveled the sidewalks. And I did shovel it on Saturday. Thank you.
I think that in the future we need to put some maybe guidelines in place so that there's transparency, so that maybe there's not as much confusion in the community as we're hearing right now. I can only speak to my personal experience, which was I was given a bill for $83, and I shoveled my sidewalk. I furthermore know that no one else shoveled my sidewalk, as Matt had mentioned. I think that I also didn't receive a warning at the time. I don't know, and I haven't met anyone yet that has. I'm sure people have, but I haven't seen anyone that's actually saw the company A&M Services out cleaning the sidewalks. I haven't met anyone, at least in my neighborhood, that got one of the warnings. And everyone I've talked to that's gotten a bill hasn't said that they haven't gotten a warning. And again, I can't speak to their experiences, but for me, that's what it is. I know mine might be an aberration, but you know, just based on my experience, it seems conceivable to me that maybe no one was warned, and maybe no one, maybe people are just paying this, as Lynn mentioned. She probably would have just paid it anyway, just because she got a bill and she was told to pay. I'm kind of concerned about what the attorney, I'm sorry, I can't remember his name, but he said some of these things were done to give us an extra level of comfort. And I understand that legally maybe you don't need to show people that there was a reason, but I think you can appreciate how it kind of rubs some people wrong to know that their city could give them a bill, $33, and they don't have any recourse. They're supposed to take the officer's word for it that their sidewalk wasn't clean. As I mentioned, my most clean, when I called and asked for a photograph, non-existed. It was kind of enlightening, I think, for someone that cares as much about the city as I do. It was disappointing, I think so.
What I'm trying to say is there is someone out there who received the notice and then cleared their sidewalk. At least 100 people. Some of those are probably serendipity, whereas someone actually shoveled that weekend and perhaps did not receive the notice. But I have not seen a notice myself, and I hope to find one. I've heard of the mythical person who has one, but I just wanted to jump in and say that Ms. McGrath, some of these properties didn't get abated, is all I want to say. We struggled with this. It's unfortunate. Hopefully we correct this, but you know, it's a good policy, and we need to make the implementation sound.
Okay, go ahead.
One quick thing, I also want to commend Ms. McGrath and the Enforcement Division for making the attempt to make the ordinance work. I know we're having a little growing pains, and we're going to have that whenever we start something this major and go through. But we'll get this fixed. We'll get this tweaked, and I think we'll make the steps in the right direction, obviously.